Today on We Come From the Future, we're going to give you our favorite choices for what you can read this summer on the beach. And to help us out, we have Kim Stanley Robinson in the studio. He's the author of the amazing Mars series, and he's going to tell us about his new novel. Also, we try to retrieve some eager readers' lost books. All this and more coming up on We Come From the Future. This episode of We Come From the Future is brought to you by Gamefly. Hi, I'm Annalee Newitz.
And I'm Esther Arkell.
Welcome to We Come From the Future, the show where we leave you a breadcrumb trail to tomorrow and then whisk the crumbs away so that you're stranded there.
For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun is doing its worst right now. And the only way to block its harmful effects is with a lot of books and those little umbrellas that come in tropical drinks. We cannot recommend a drink, but we can tell you what to read. My first pick is Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, which is exactly as woo-woo meets hard-boiled as it sounds, and it's by Douglas Adams, got famous for writing The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The same kind of thing, big sprawling detective cosmic epic, but same author. So my second pick is China Miéville's Embassy Town. I think he's best for summer reading because he likes to drop you into the middle of his stories and kind of let you figure out what's going on once you're there. I can't do that without a lot of sun to relax me and a little drink in my hand, so
excellent.
He's the best for summer reading.
Excellent. All right, so if you want to have something a little darker for your summer reading, I would recommend the alternate history murder mystery Farthing by Jo Walton. It's set in England after that country has created an alliance with Hitler's Reich, which has taken over Europe. And the main character is a woman who's the daughter of some politicians who's married a Jewish man, and there's suddenly been a murder at her family's house. And so it mixes together family politics and national politics in a really interesting way. And the ending is so dark that you will just be kind of wounded for days afterward. It's amazing. But if you want something a little bit more fun, I recommend the classic novel, A Fire Upon the Deep by Vernor Vinge. He's the guy who invented the idea of the singularity, and this book is full of incredible aliens, amazing space battles, and a ragtag group of people who are fighting an enemy whose main goal in life is to just eat all matter in the galaxy. It's terrific, it's a classic, and if you haven't read it yet, now is the time.
Maybe you'd rather spend the summer with a pen in your hand. We can help you out with that too. We've got Kim Stanley Robinson here to talk about great reading and great writing.
With us in the studio today is celebrated science fiction author Kim Stanley Robinson. You may know of him from his Mars trilogy or the Three Californias trilogy, and today he's going to be talking to us about his new novel, 2312. So tell me a little bit about 2312.
Well, it's a novel set in that year, so it's 300 years in the future, and that's a long way for me to imagine, but I tried to push it out there, and so things got strange, and humanity has occupied a lot of the solar system, but at the same time, Earth is still the central problem and kind of a mess.
You do a lot with terraforming in your work, and I'm wondering, do you think that geoengineering is a plausible way forward for humanity, that we could actually be doing this in 100 or 200 years?
Well, yes and no. You can terraform Mars pretty obviously, given there's already a lot of water there frozen underneath the ground, and if we don't find life on Mars, and if we wanted to terraform it, and that seems to be realistic possibility if you give it enough time.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think that the idea of hollowing out asteroids and zooming around in the solar system or inhabiting, say, Europa are really a plausible future? Is that more of a kind of literary device for you, or?
No, but that's 300 years out, and there, yes, I do think that these are the most realistic and plausible ways to inhabit space. That because of the cosmic rays and because of the low G, we probably do need to go inside asteroids and spin them, get both protection and gravity effect, so that we can live up there. And then inside them, you could have any biome you wanted, from tropical to Arctic, as I suggest in my book, where there's like 20,000 terraria, and they have all kinds of mix and match.
So you've also done a very well-known alternate history, The Years of Rice and Salt, and I'm wondering, what do you feel like you can do in an alternate history that you can't do in science fiction that's looking toward the future?
Well, that's a good question, because in a way, there's not much the alternative history can do. I think it's a weaker form than science fiction proper. In science fiction proper, you're saying, this is going to happen to all of us. It's not my dream, it's not surrealism, it's prophecy. This is coming for us. And you read science fiction going, wow, it's going to be that way for me or our children or whatever. Alternative history is saying that, well, this didn't happen, but if it had, it would have been a really interesting, cool thing. That's a much weaker statement than this is coming. So all you can do, I think, is make a new story space, which is nice, and you can also suggest that history is changeable.
So one of the other things that you seem to really enjoy is writing about disasters and kind of mini apocalypses. I feel like in a lot of your books, we get these amazing images of like floods and space elevators destroying things and like cities being destroyed by like millions of micrometeorites and just these really kind of enthusiastic descriptions of disaster. But at the same time, your books are I feel like they're optimistic. And so I'm wondering, is that a conscious choice that you're making to write something that's optimistic about humanity surviving these disasters, or is that just kind of what you're drawn to? Or
that's a good way to put it. It is a conscious choice. Well, for one thing, I think we're living on a planet. It's not automatic that things are safe here, and so I like to do the disaster scenes that remind us that we're on a planet. We're not totally in control, and we're not just brains in bottles and fingertips in a big old experiment, but actually interacting with a planet that can do wild things to you. But on the other hand, I do think a good response is possible, and often I talk about the fortunate fall, that what you think is a disaster actually throws society into a little crisis that makes it better after it's over with.
All right, thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
All right, the book is in bookstores now. It's called 2312. Check it out. And now we'd like to thank our sponsor. Video gaming can be an expensive hobby. With new titles selling for $60, you want to be sure you're getting the right game. That's why you need to try out Gamefly. It's the largest online video game rental service with over 8,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. Plans start at just $15.95 a month, and Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. There are no late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back, and Gamefly will send you the next available game on your list. And if you really like the game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the Gamefly website, and the game is yours at a discounted price. Gamefly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. Not a console gamer? No worries. Gamefly members can also play hundreds of PC games for free with unlimited PC play. Not convinced? We Come From The Future fans get a 15-day free trial when you go to gamefly.com/future. That's gamefly.com/future. We've told you what to read and how to write. Now it's time for you to tell us something. We're searching for a long-lost book, and only you can find it for us in this week's Lost Media.
This week's Lost Media request is sent by Eric Rosborough. He writes, "There was this book I read when I was younger in the 90s. There's humans and, in another dimension, a race of beings who are liquid-like. I believe they mate by merging together, and when 3 merge together, they become a solid figure. Humans learned how to communicate with this dimension by something like a particle accelerator. Please help me find this book."
You heard him. Help this poor guy out and help us out, because we need to know more about transdimensional liquid sacs. So if you've read this book and know what it is, email us and let us know at wecomefromthefuture@revision3.com. And that's it for the summer reading episode of We Come From The Future. If you want more of us, you can catch us on iTunes by searching for IO9, or you can subscribe to us right there on YouTube.
I'm Esther Arkell.
And I'm Annalee Newitz. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week in the future.